for business this month, we decided to bring you real life stories of businesses who are thriving in Nigeria, despite all the economic conditions, ups and downs that we've had in the last 3.5 years or so.
Of course.
But yeah, and these businesses have been able to thrive in spite of the challenges that come with starting a business in Nigeria. And this morning, we're going to be having a conversation with someone very special.
Yes, indeed. Our first guest in the series is Femi Oyedikpe. Now, she's the CEO of Luscious Chocolate. Great to have you join us on Wake Up Nigeria.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, now I looked at this and, the packaging itself,
yes, indeed.
even
so
before
much.
tasting the chocolate, is like
Yeah,
amazing.
let me get this one. Oh, so beautiful packaging.
Yeah.
And this packaging is made in Nigeria.
Yes, actually made by us in-house.
Wow.
We buy everything locally. So
You're amazing.
Yeah.
You're amazing. So tell us about this business, how you started this, because you have a remarkable story.
Yes. The idea was birthed in 2015. When you've given so much to career and, you've not, attained where you want to be, and instead of just moping and, so I just thought, okay, what could I do? And at the time, we did a bit of research to find out, the things I could do. I knew I could bake. I'd worked a bit with chocolates in making ganaches and making chocolate cakes. So we just thought, okay, what can you do? And this was at a time where I'd just lost out on a particular opportunity that I set my mind on for so long.
I have this need to hear this whole story, full from the beginning to the end, but we have to take a short break and be back in a bit.
Okay.
We're back. We're still with Femi Oyedikpe, who's the CEO of Luscious Chocolate, and she was just telling us her story. You were talking about where you had just missed out on an opportunity.
Yes, so it was an opportunity with a telco company, an American telco company, and I was quite devastated about it. So, so we thought to myself, well, my best friend and I, which is my husband, and I was like, Femi, you're good with your hands, do something. I was like, I'm not going to start baking. There are a lot of people that are already baking already. I have big names, So with a lot of research, I found out that we are actually huge producers of cocoa in Nigeria, particularly in the early 60s, before the advent of oil. Yeah. We're #1, but now we're somewhere number 7 or some sort. So anyway, so we're a huge cocoa producing nation, and most of our cocoa is exported, and nothing is done in terms of value adding for the local industry in particular. Okay. Now there's some factories that were doing, cocoa processing, where they do cocoa butter, cocoa powder. But at that time, I didn't really hear of anybody wanting to do fine chocolates, like chocolates that we go to the stores, or when we travel to France, Switzerland, we were buying chocolates and eating. So I said, okay, maybe I should carve a niche here. Probably if I, do this and add some sort of value, then I can become successful one day. So.
Yeah, and that's some footage of
your factory.
Oh, yeah. Factory where things are being produced. Yes. They're fantastic.
Can you tell us about the process, of getting the cocoa out of the cocoa bean and all that?
So typically, cocoa beans are different. You can have beans from
where?
This is beans from Ondo, Ileoluji.
Okay.
So you could have beans from Owo, you can have from Ileoluji, and they are actually a bit different from each other because beans are determined by the soil, the seed that was used for the bean, for the cacao tree, and also the rain profile in that area. So you can be in a particular, maybe in the west, for example, and the bean from Oyo is different from the bean from Ondo. So if you see, I have a bean from Oyo there.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, so this is the one from Oyo.
This is the one from Ondo. And you can see, even from looking at it, you can see the difference.
Yeah, this is a bit powdery.
Yeah, that is, and nothing has been done to it. It's just,
this is just straight from the tree.
Fermented.
From the pod.
From the cacao pod, fermented and dried. And then you have that from Oyo. Even the aroma is different.
Right.
So the flavor notes you experience when you make the chocolates is different.
She's talking like a pro.
Fantastic.
Like a real pro.
Okay, so once you crack, I guess you crack the pods.
Yes.
You get the
So what you do,
out.
what you do is that once you get it like this, what we do, because we're still a small batch company, we hand sort. So there's sometimes you have a few things like the dried pulp that comes with the bean when it's in the cacao pod. So you take that out and then take out imperfect beans. That is beans that are not properly dried or fermented. And then you have the perfect ones, and then we roast those ones. Wow. So I've been working with these two beans since 2016, early 2016. Wow. So we've developed a roasting profile that best suits the Ondo bean, Ileoluji to be precise, and Idere, or your state.
Now, we're going to talk about your packaging, which I think is absolutely excellent. It's international standard in a few minutes. Okay. But talk to us about challenges, because I know that in this kind of business, working in this climb, and deciding that, you know what, I'm going to stake it out, it can be pretty challenging. So talk to us about some of the challenges of a small business.
Now, for small businesses, I'm very sure a lot of us experience quite similar challenges, but I would like to talk about something that is unique to like manufacturing, because I'm a manufacturer.
Yes, you are.
And what is unique to me is that, one, I need to grind for a minimum of 36 to 48 hours to get my homogeneous compound to a fine consistency, so that when you put it in your mouth, it doesn't feel gritty. So with the power challenge,
36 hours.
Yes, minimum. And that's with all the other factors in place. That is your rotation, the speed, the temperature of your grind. So once any of those things change, it's longer.
Right. Wow.
So yes.
36 hours.
Minimum. Grinding at a particular speed and at a particular temperature. Now, once that changes, your processing time is lengthened. So now that comes to power.
So I can just imagine running diesel
you can imagine
for
the
36 hours.
amount of money I spend on power, monthly is huge.
So you can't ever have a break in power when you're grinding?
No, I cannot.
Otherwise, it just extends it.
Even if I do, I need to power it back and then to extend it. So sometimes I have in a grinder a batch, and I'm grinding sometimes 5 days, and I'm totally upset because I'm not able to meet my deliverables, and I'm trying to grow my business. So that in itself is an issue. Power.
So for the packaging, what we've noted is that you wanted to meet an international standard.
Yes.
And why was this so important?
Because I feel that great things can come from Nigeria. And if we import chocolates from abroad, why can't Nigerian-made chocolates compete with these imported chocolates? We have the resources. We are closest to the raw material. Only in Nigeria and South America you find cocoa. In Europe and all those other places, they actually get our cocoa and then, turn them into...
And send it back to us
and send it back to us, yes. So, and then also, the vision of Luscious Chocolate was that, okay, we wanted everything to be proudly Nigerian. So we source everything locally. Our packaging is done locally. We do it in-house. I actually buy the paper myself. Wow. The person that supplies me, I know him, So, and then we developed a prototype of the packaging and then taught our packaging team to know how to do this.
So my final question for me is, what is the response been like? So is it friends that first of all came on board, or how are you distributing it, as quickly as possible? What can you tell us?
So I would say that Nigerians have actually been very, very supportive. Okay. When they see, they're like, are you serious? Made in Nigerian chocolate? They're like, okay, let's try it out. But initially, when they didn't come in this fancy packaging, our initial packaging, they were a bit skeptical. But once we got it right, they were like, oh yeah, then let's try it. Some people are still a bit like, but most people are like excited and they're like, okay, let's try it. Give us something. Okay, let's do you understand? So they've been the response has been good. And also thanks to the LSCTF as well, Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. I was also a beneficiary, so I got loan from them. And I was able to buy my massive grinder that does 10 times the volume. I was currently doing.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Femi Idikwe, for joining us. CEO of Luscious Chocolate.
Yes, indeed.
You can find it everywhere.
Thank you so much. Valentine's package.
Yes, on our website, lusciouschocolate.com.
And on social media as well.
And on social media as well, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
You know what? I think you're amazing. You're
inspiring.
Thank
you very much.
We're bringing you more on our real-life stories of survival and thriving in business in spite of all the challenges faced by small and medium-scale business owners in Nigeria. Now, this morning, we have another entrepreneur to share his journey to success with us. Leye Makanjola is here in the house. It's great to have you.
Thank you for
You're
having
welcome.
me.
Of course, we'll be talking about what you're doing and how you go about it. But then he is the Chief Marketing Officer at Intense Digital Marketing Agency in Nigeria. Let's, first of all, that designation, what exactly is a Chief Marketing Officer?
Well, it's the #1 position in the company because it's a marketing agency. So, so it means I am the founder and, you know, the leader of the company.
All right, so what does the company do?
Well, we're a marketing agency, but focused on the internet and on digital channels, which means that whatever it takes for a business to be successful, to create awareness and sales online, we help them do it.
Now, everybody is on the internet these days, and everybody has some sort of, they feel like they have some sort of experience and they can do anything. It's not just to advertise, put up a post or something and all of that. Where do you come in? How does it, that specialization which you do, how does it come in? How is it not just the run-of-the-mill, everybody that you see on the internet and usage of the internet?
Yeah, the thing is, advertising is all about channels. So, I mean, you thinking that you can just come on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and, you know, advertise and then make it successful. It's not about using the tool, it's about the content that you put into it, and it's about the strategy. It's about knowing where your customers are. It's about knowing what kind of message to reach them with. It's about knowing how to spend the right amount. It takes a lot, you know, to put together, and it takes a lot of experience as well.
All right, now talking about putting it together and taking a lot, that means you definitely have a story. Let's talk about your story and how it can inspire others into going into any part of the world. How was it getting up to this point for you as an entrepreneur?
Okay, I always tell people that I started with no money at all, no capital at all.
So you don't necessarily need capital to start a business?
No, you don't.
Right.
You know, all you need is a smartphone and data. I think I worked for about 4 years before I started my own business. I basically started a Twitter, basically like an influencer handle, which of course I started for free. And then as soon as we got to 1,000 followers, we started to advertise that we could promote goods and services for other people. And in like a month, we got our first client who paid 20,000 naira.
Wow.
And then since then, people started asking for other services. Oh, can you build a website? Oh, can you get us more followers? Or can you help me trend my event or my product? So I started to look into these things, these requests, and everything's centered around digital marketing. So I started to look into what will it take to start up a digital agency. And so I think after about 2 years running it part-time, I quit my job. I was in 2014, November. And then, you know, I basically went and got a desk space at a virtual office, and that was it.
All right. So for people who might want to venture into digital marketing, what are the steps? Is there any way you can, you know, put them in steps and all that very fast? How they can, what they would go through and the kind of challenges they might come across?
I mean, it's a learning industry.
I like that, learning industry.
You just have to learn. Even when you're already in it, if you stop learning, you'll be obsolete in a year. You know,
so there's always something new. There's always a trend. There's always something to learn that will move you forward.
Yes, because things are changing very fast. So you need to keep learning at a very alarming pace. So I mean, first things first, it's very wide as well. I think it's also important to specialize so you can decide where you want to go into. Okay,
so don't just go into the whole digital marketing.
You don't need everything.
You just get into a niche.
Yeah, you don't
have a niche for yourself.
You can have a niche. You can say you want to specialize in search engine optimization, for example.
SEOs, yes.
Yeah, there are agencies that's all they do. And then you have content creation agencies, you have influencer marketing agencies, you know, so it's better you take one.
Find out which one would work best for you.
And then understand the rest. You know, have understanding of how everything comes together.
All right.
You know,
so just what's the future of digital marketing? How big can the industry go? How much can the industry take?
It's definitely going to get much bigger, especially internationally, but also in Nigeria as businesses, as the heads of businesses start to, as the older generation starts to phase out and the younger people start to take management positions, because they definitely understand how it works more. So budgets start to shift from your traditional advertising to your digital. you know, it's definitely going to get bigger. And the future is data, being able to, if you tell me you want to sell shoes for men now, and you come to me, I should be able to know where the men that can afford your shoes are based on the data that I have on them than just guessing. You know, so, and that's where we as Intense are going as an agency. We've basically even pivoted from just digital marketing to marketing and technology this year. Okay. So we're beginning to build products, technology products that use artificial intelligence to basically target the right people so that we're more precise with our results, and then clients can get exactly what they're looking for.
Now, I just want to round up with this. If, for instance, is there any way you can let us know a kind of financial projection of what it might, what somebody who wants to go into digital marketing, what the person might make in a year?
It really depends. It really depends. You could make nothing. You could make you can make nothing. You could make a loss.
I like that. We like getting millions and all of that. But then
you could make a loss. But then you can make. Okay, so for example, we've done 4 years now. Last year we probably had a revenue of close to 100 million naira. But it really depends. Some people work from home, so their costs are low.
Yeah, that figure you just said has ended the discussion. Please make sure it doesn't go out. We'll go out together. Thank you very much. That was quite a wonderful experience with you, and wishing you the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, if you live in Lagos, chances are high that you are familiar with the dry cleaning brand called Clean Ace. Now, with me today on the show is Enibokun Adebayo, who is the founder and CEO of Clean Ace brand, Clean Ace Foundation, and the Clean Ace Academy, which was birthed from the need to structure the dry cleaning business in Nigeria. You're welcome, sir. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much.
Now, there is so much about you, but let's start from your origin story. We've already had a wonderful time discussing, but let's see the origin story of Clean Ace. You know, how did this wonderful, this brand that we see today, how did it start?
I used to love ironing as a young boy. Anyway, thank you very much. And my name is Enibokun. Enibokun, the blessed of the Lord.
The blessed of the Lord. I like that. I like that. Thank you, sir.
I loved ironing as a little boy.
Okay.
My grandfather used to be a local washerman, and my father did some laundry and dry cleaning, though a chartered accountant, but he started a dry cleaning. And from there, I mean, I wrote JAMB 6 times. I left Federal Government College Maiduguri in 1988.
Yes, okay.
88, and I started writing JAMB 89, 90, 91. I wrote 6 JAMBs.
6? And what were you doing all through this period?
That was when my father started that business, and that my childhood hobby of loving to iron. I mean, I saw bigger irons, more professional irons, and I saw some fantastic guys that worked with my father. And, you know, I mean, I loved that industry. So I saw, I mean, my father started the laundry in 91, okay. 2, 3, 4. I gained admission into Ado-Ekiti, University of, the present Ado-Ekiti University.
Okay.
And it was, I didn't want to go to the university after all because I had been completely lost. I mean, I loved my father's business.
Okay.
You know, and back and forth during holidays, strikes and all that. I come back, work there. And eventually, a cousin of mine started her business, fantastic dry cleaning. I left my father's place, I joined her, and I saw dry cleaning in another dimension. It was, I mean, I loved fabric care. I loved seeing people dress nice, and I loved, more than just seeing them dress nice, I loved seeing them, I mean, you want to maintain those clothes. You want to keep them crisp, clean, looking nice, and I mean, and I had my elder brothers, I mean, they were designer freaks.
So this was in the family.
Yes.
You could say it was in the family.
You know.
So now let's look at Clean Ace as it is, as the brand. From those beginning times, how did it grow? What was the process which made it to what it is today? Something that up-and-coming entrepreneurs can learn from.
You know, today, people come to the Cleaners Academy and ask me, okay, so I want to do business. And I tell them, go and do a business plan. But I don't have a business plan.
Why so?
Nigeria defies every business plan, I'm telling you. You will have to be updating that business plan per minute. Per minute, per second, per minute. Okay, but you see, I got into business. For me, cleaners and the dry cleaning industry is more of a calling. I've seen God do awesome things. How did I get here? Where did I start from? No capital, no sponsor, no backup anywhere.
So how did you get there?
I left my cousin's business, and at that I had seen the greatest of dry cleaning, and but I didn't have any capital. And God led me to say that, you know what, resign from that job, and I will start you off. So for me, it is more of direction. Knowing what you like, your passion, where your strength lies, and being very honest that I don't want to be like somebody else. I just want to be original.
I love this knowledge.
I want to do what I love, what I have a very deep conviction for. And there's that inner strength from God that just tells me that I will make you. It's not about today. I will make you. When I got the name, Clean Ace, God told me, I said, God, what does Clean Ace? What does it mean? He says, I'm going to make it the ace among cleaners. This is a business. I started going from place to place, picking the dirty clothes with my own hands. I had to go to my friends' offices. In fact, even my friends that lived around me, I'll go to their offices to pick up the clothes so that I could meet their colleagues and they could see what, I do, and day by day, I mean, from picking up from their clothes, from homes, from offices, we have several stores. I mean, I didn't have enough money to get a store. I didn't have enough money to buy a machine. But thank God for a friend of mine that bought me one portable, small industrial machine that you pour water in, allow it to boil.
Now this is the point here, because we have enough people that tell stories that, look, I don't know how it happened, but God just came in. No. You know, processes like this.
God will always send somebody.
Okay.
There will always be somebody to give you that encouragement, to give you that direction. I had done a course in the Lagos Business School, SMP 21. That was in 2003. Then EDC, Enterprise Development Center. I mean, I got into that organization when they were just about starting off. Peter Bankole, I mean, a great support, a great mentor. So God will supply. When the business started, we needed to scale. Bank said, even without collateral, we will work it out for you. Now,
without collateral?
Without collateral. And angel investors, people that just came up to say, classmates I had in LBS that came to say, this boy, you are so passionate about this thing you are doing. And we have the conviction that you are going to succeed. And when you are telling that your success story, we must be there. And the person that bought a machine bought, the person that gave me an air conditioner gave, the person that bought a washing machine, and I said, okay, what do you need? It got to a point that I said, no, I think I even have too much.
Enough.
Yes.
So, but now what I get, the common thread I can get from this is that your passion was very evident.
Correctly.
That's what set you out.
In fact, my neighbor, where I lived in Bagada at the time, because I started washing at home, and the guy sees me go.
You were the one doing the washing
Yes,
yourself?
I wash it and I iron all night. In fact, I didn't know the little generator I had was powerful enough to power the steam iron. So what I do is I sleep in the sitting room. I had a baby then. I had my son just off the set.
Wow.
I had my baby boy. He's 15 now.
He's 15.
And I leave my wife and him to sleep in the bedroom, and I go to the sitting room, put on the fluorescent light so that when the NEPA comes, the light gets into my eyes, and I can wake up and I can continue ironing.
Wow.
Until I got the first person to wash, the second person, somebody to iron, and today we have 120 staff. We have 10 stores.
That is now, there's something you mentioned when you spoke about power. Power has been quite a lot, has limited a number of businesses, even big businesses, very, very big ones have left this country due to power. How were you able to overcome that challenge? Because your business is one that is really dependent on power supply.
You see, if anybody wanting to do business in Nigeria, you just must structure your mind to say that, that dream, that passion must be strong enough that nothing is going to stand in your way. I have my transformers, I have 380 kVA generators, 250 kVA generators. I have generators speed everywhere. Every store, there are buildings where we have pickup centers that, you know what, there is no power in that. You have to find a way to energize because you want to give that look and feel. We spend close to 10% of revenue. And
your startup revenue or your...
No, on monthly
revenue,
10-15%
of your revenue?
Yes.
On generating power?
On generating power. I'm not even talking about servicing the generators now. I'm just talking on diesel and NEPA.
And NEPA.
Even when the light is not there, I mean, because you have the because you have the transformer, you still have to. So, but you know what? We are not among those that
complain about that.
You know.
So the point is that you have to have that mindset, or you have to plan your business in such a way that it's independent.
Correctly. You produce your water. I mean, boreholes, treatment plants, and all that. You don't. If you have to deliver the service, then you just go out, and that's where the passion is very, very key. Oh. Because you must enjoy this. It must be your life. I don't do any other business.
Mr. Debayo, you know, we could talk for like 2 hours and would not scratch the surface. But this is quite an interesting story. Probably social media where people can get back to you and continue the story or something. Yeah. A social media handle?
CleanAce NG and Twitter. NG. Yes, CleanAce, all on CleanAce.
Thank you so very much. I would still love to continue this some other time. Thank you very much.
Thanks so
much.
Welcome back. Now, Taiwo and Kehinde Okunore are the brains and personalities behind the Okunore Twins fashion label, which started way back in 2002. Now, they have since made themselves a household name in Nigeria with their designs of distinct, well-constructed suits and traditional wear targeted at Nigerian consumers. Nato C, D-Banch, JJ Okocha, Don Jazzy, DJ Case, just to name a few, have all been spotted in their designs. They recently opened their flagship store in Lagos, and we have Taiwo Okunore, who is the creative director of the label, joining us this morning to talk to us about motivating budding business entrepreneurs, people that want to be like them, on the challenges they will likely face, and also talking to us about their success story. Wow, 2002. I didn't know you guys were that way back. Yeah, of course. So it's been many years, and it's been a long journey. But here you are today, and a lot of people see it as a success story.
I hope so.
Well, so 2002. I mean, you must have been pretty young at the time. So talk to us about what it was like then.
We were 19. Yeah, in 2002. I remember we were in the university. We were in Unilag actually. And then we were selling ready-made shirts. We were getting ready-made shirts from the UK, America, and selling it to friends. And then for every 5 shirts we sold, I remember people would return maybe 3 and say, it's too big, it's too small, you know, it's too big. I want the collar small, I want the chest smaller. So we had this tailor who used to do fittings for us, who ripped the shirt completely and put it back and get it to size. So that sparked something. That if somebody can do that, you know, to alter a shirt and get it, you know, to fit, that means obviously if you give him, you know, new fabric, he can do that to new fabric. Yeah. So we tried it, gave it to this tailor, and before we knew it, the guy made the shirt in 2 hours. Wow. And got a brand new shirt. It was exactly like
in 2 hours.
Yes, just like the imported ones. So that was what really sparked Okunore Twins. It was just some sort of trial and error type thing.
In Unilag at the time, and of course the demand, because it must have been. I'm sure that there were hardly anybody who was doing that kind of.
Yes, at the time. At the time, it was more. You had a lot of very older people doing it. Yeah. That's like some Dakova, Diola Sego.
Yeah, I remember,
you know, so because people our age group wanted to, study law, doctor, wanted to be medicine rather. Yeah. So they were like, you guys are in school, and it wasn't common yet.
Yeah, you know, very true.
So initially it was tough for us because of schools, you know, so But it's been so far so good.
It's been good. So I remember back then, I mean, it was really, shirts were very popular, especially in Unilag.
Yes.
So all the TM Lewin shirts with the tail.
Yeah.
So you guys now began to sort of bring a cheaper version of the TM Lewin shirts in quotes, which
Well,
people started
yes,
seeing
yes,
at the time.
yes.
Yeah.
It's fair to say that.
So people had more access to
to
very good shirts
exactly,
that you guys were
at the
making.
same quality, if you will. Yes, absolutely. But so the shirt thing kind of played out because it got saturated. So we thought to ourselves, maybe we just move to suits as opposed to shirts.
Yeah.
So we did the same
Concept.
that we did for the shirts. I did it on the suits.
But suits are trickier, though. I know.
Yes, it is trickier, but we got exposed to suits as well earlier on in life because of my dad. He was really into very good suits from Savile and the rest of them.
Yeah.
So we got exposed to suits. So that acted like a reference point,
Yeah.
you know, for us, you know, and it got us exposed to how these things are made, the quality, the fabrics and things like that.
So of course, I mean, eventually, when did you decide that, okay, this is going to be our business? This is what we're going to be doing. You know, 9 to 5. I mean, I'm not going to be looking for a job. I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to make this a success. I mean, you must have gone to a point where you thought that that's a decision I'm going to make.
Yeah. So the thing is, initially, the acceptance was tough, but once the moment we got accepted, I mean, the sales went crazy. So that was a great indication for us.
Yeah. So now, one of the biggest challenges I know in Nigeria doing business is when demand gets high.
Yes.
How to fulfill your orders and how to meet that demand. It's always a big challenge.
Yes,
It's a challenge of capacity. So how did you, over the years, deal with that challenge?
I'll tell you the truth, we still haven't tackled it completely. Because what you have in this part of the world in terms of fashion business, and I think most businesses, because you have most businesses tackling all their problems. For instance, we're designers. We shouldn't be in the business of trying to produce on a large scale. So we are having to do that. We are doing that. We are in that business as well. So to be, in terms of capacity, is something that we haven't totally conquered. You know, so what you want ultimately in Nigeria is for a major investment in this sector, in the garment sector. I mean, in telecoms, you've had that. In banking, you've had major investments in, you know, major industries in Nigeria. I mean, in the fashion industry,
those investments are not there yet.
Yes, you haven't seen it. I suspect, as usual, you get the Western companies doing it for us, and then you see the local ones following.
One question I'm always curious about, one thing I'm always curious about is, as more designers come into the industry, you're almost fighting for the same resources. When I say resources, I'm talking about good tailors, probably even same kind of clientele, especially as you move up, because as you move up, the clientele reduces. So how do you also deal with that as a designer and also a businessman?
So the market currently is gradually growing, so because there's a strong middle class. And so the middle class are the people who keep buying and buying. So we on our side as a brand, to feed their appetite, you have to keep coming up with new designs at a very attractive price. So what we've done is do that and then segment the market. So you have a brand for, I don't know, people who want to go all out. And you have another brand for, you know, people who like those designs, those high-end designs, but cannot pay that premium. So
like at least you have something
like a diffusion brand, if you will. So basically that's it really. You know, I mean, it's been this concept. You see a lot of brands like Inditex, the people who own Zara. So you see the same person owns Zara, the same person owns Massimo Dutti.
Right, okay, so
you see Massimo Dutti is higher and then Zara is under. You see some other brands were actually the rock bottom ones. Right. So I think that's the concept for the.
So now talking about you talk about mass production,
yes,
which is something that you guys are now into.
Yes, gradually.
Which which you would normally not have done.
Yes,
like you said, because you're a designer.
Exactly.
Ideally. So would you, so now if you're now thinking about, like you said, rock bottom prices and all of that, would you then probably then spread out and scale up to a situation where, okay, you're now doing mass market brands like, you know, all the other guys.
Yes, yes. So that's ultimately, we want to be like a Pan-African brand, eventually go, you know, international, global, and things like that on a major scale. So yes, the idea is to diversify, go into mass production fully. I mean, currently you're working on a private placement, as a matter of fact, in that regard. So the idea is to build a fully diversified garment manufacturing company.
So let's talk about challenges, because I mean, you started in school as a young man, 19 years old. So you would have learned a lot of things along the way, made a lot of mistakes while you were younger, thankfully. But you know, for someone who's coming up and they're watching now, it might not even necessarily be the fashion industry, and you know, they want to go into business in Nigeria. I know it's really tough, but you guys have made it. So talk to us about it. You hope so. You're still trying. Talk to us about some of the challenges as we round off.
The major challenge for any business, for people who are trying to start, would be funding. It's very tough to get funding in Nigeria, you know, because your vision sometimes is very enormous, and then to be able to fund it, you know, and kick it off the ground is always an issue. You know, I think funding is a major issue.
It's a big issue.
I don't want to mention the usual issues.
Yeah,
I
mean, we have
funding.
We usually have an SME here every week, so they're talking about the issue of power and all the other
usual suspects.
Crazy suspects and all of that. But thank you so much, Taiwo.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to be taking you to the kitchen.
Okay.
Where you're going to help us sample our food from our chef.
Sample. Okay, yeah. I thought you're going to say,
no, we can give you a full breakfast if you want.
No, I mean,
please join us. Please join us.
All right.
Okay. Hey guys, let me introduce you to Mr. Taiwo Okonorin.
Welcome. Good morning.
Of the famous Okonorin fashion brand.
Yes, indeed.
Such a pleasure to meet you.
Same here.
All right. So we have Chef Taylor in the building.
Hi,
Chef Tobad.
Chef Tobad.
okay, that's right.
Yeah.
He made today's breakfast. We were actually prepared for yourself and your brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I can help him out.
So, Chef Taylor, tell us about this.
Okay, so it's pretty much like a curry, but I just call it the chicken, potatoes, cream sauce. So you have chicken, potatoes, all the veggies, cream and cheese. So very easy and just boom, magic.
Right. So,
so
it looks amazing. It looks amazing. We saw him cutting fresh vegetables, like that's they just
He
plucked
started
them.
pretty early.
Yeah,
about
he
6:30.
did.
So well done, man.
Thank
So
you.
now, what's the verdict?
My God. I might be the best person to do this.
Ah, well.
We should
So his fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
It actually tastes nice, to be fair.
Oh,
So it tastes very
wow.
nice.
I'm still
So
waiting.
well done,
That's high
Chef. So we'll have
praise.
you back again.
Amazing stuff.
Big thank you to our friends over at Homely NG for the kitchen accessories on Wake Up Nigeria.
Of course, a big shout out to Fola at Fola's Place for the amazing hairstyling
Thank
he
you
does.
so much for that.
We love you, and then welcome, Chef Taylor.
Thank you very
so much.
Thanks so much for having
Fresh
me.
veggies, food in the morning.
Just summer.
What?
It's making my eye turning on his
It's
own.
more like welcome and goodbye.
Mike's eyes are turning on his own.
We're going to be back tomorrow. Please stay away from social media results.
Yes, sir.
Yes, dude.
Wait for the official
Wait for the
INEC
official.
results, please.
I know it can be tough, but
Yeah.
do try.
Yes,
We'll see you again tomorrow.
7 a.m., y'all.